They need to take it more seriously.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network your first listen every day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube or wherever you want to download your podcast, never forget the show is free, and always remember how much I appreciate your support. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit it, I have a competitive side, and it is a big fan of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on classic Monopoly. So join your friends and download the Monopoly Go app, now free at the App Store or Google Play. So who is they? Who needs to take it more seriously? Talking about the transfer portal. Am I talking about the players, the guys who are jumping into the portal? Am I talking about their financial advisors, using finger quotes for those of you downloading your favorite podcast? Or am I referring to USC, the powers that be, whomever's involved at USC making the decision? Look, the transfer portal has been, the spring portal has been open for a few days now, and it already has some USC fans kind of shifting their seats. And some of them are actually blaming USC's coaching staff that they haven't gotten their big name defensive tackle signed on the line yet. It's like, what are you waiting for? And they're taking it even a step further. But everyone understands that if you want the best players available, it's going to cost some money. Even USC understands it. Okay, Coach Riley, House of Victory Collective, everybody. And as I said on yesterday's episode of Locked on USC, certain players at certain positions, they're going to demand a higher price than certain players at other positions. However, at the same time, just because you play that position, it doesn't mean you actually get to set a price well above what you've produced to date. I guess what I'm saying is, if there's somebody out there, if there is a program willing to pay above sticker price, because defensive tackles right now, they're a premium, high demand, low supply. So if you got somebody out there who's willing to pay above the market price for you, hey, go get paid. More power to you. But again, if you listen to yesterday's episode, this is what I said. I think you know who I'm talking about right now. Quote, TCU's Demonic Williams is jumping into the transfer portal this week, and we're hearing that he will be another defensive line target for USC and Eric Henderson once he's officially in the transfer portal, and I will update the Locked On USC community. Williams is a Los Angeles guy, and for some reason, USC staff at the time didn't show a lot of love when he was being recruited out of high school. So here we are today. He's been in the transfer portal a day, and USC was getting a chance, a second bite of the apple, so to speak. However, by the time Williams' name had been in the portal for, not even 24 hours, it seemed like he had already had a list set up of schools he was planning to visit. In fact, he did. He released them. These schools are getting official visits. Oklahoma, April 20th and 21st. Yeah, well, USC's spring game is April 20th. Texas is going to get him a couple days later, April 23rd and 24th. Colorado, April 26th and 27th. LSU, yep, they're on the list, April 30th and May 1st. And then he's got another category where he's listing Missouri and Oregon with a TBA, which stands for to be announced. So a couple of obvious things here. He has 4 official visit dates set, with Missouri and Oregon getting the TBA classification. The other thing, the obvious thing, USC's name isn't on the list. Not even the TBA list. USC could still end up on the to be announced list if USC shows more love, more money, more financial love. If what I heard is true, the opening asking price coming out of that camp, whomever is in charge of his recruitment, here's how it was explained to me. He's not being serious. Okay. Again, it's being speculated that it's going to take 7 figures, and that's going to get you on the official visit set date list. I'm told that USC isn't going there for demonic. They want him. They would love to have him, but not if that's where it starts. Look, he's from LA. USC is going to be super competitive with their NIL package. And don't forget this, the young man would also get the benefit of having Coach Henderson's development before he goes to the NFL in a year or two. I mean, that's the way that USC is selling itself right now. And they'll talk more when they think he's ready to be more serious. USC needs more than one defensive tackle out of the transfer portal. So while he is a need and his upside is very promising, there's no denying that, USC needs to spend their collective money wisely. They can't just go all in on one guy. You know, there's another guy that they're going after, Jermaine Lole. I mentioned him on yesterday's episode. That's why you need to become an everydayer. That way you don't, if you miss something, well, you'll never miss something if you become an everydayer, right? And I won't have to go back and kind of fill in the blanks for you. But the portal is still open, okay? And there are players still jumping in, so the sky isn't falling. USC wants Williams. USC wants Lole, and they feel like they're in a much better spot for Lole right now, just because he's not going to have that same type of high price tag. And I also want to remind USC fans, you know, the ones who are shifting around in their seats, getting a little tight back there, blaming the USC coaching staff. Do not forget, okay, USC has already brought in a defensive tackle this year for this season out of the SEC. Nate Clifton, pretty good. He's getting some high marks out of spring camp so far. Oh, they have a recruit coming in that they beat out Ohio State for. Remember him? Carlon Jones? Look, is he going to be an instant impact guy? No, but he's more depth, and that's what USC is looking for right now. Do they want an instant impact guy who they can plug in right away? Put right in next to Bear? Sure. Maybe Nate Clifton's already that guy. Yes, they want Demonic Williams. Yes, they want Jermaine Lole. And yes, they're looking for bigger fish. I'll wrap up this segment. Is this a good look for USC? Depends who's looking. Okay. I think from an optics standpoint, no, it doesn't look like USC is ready to dive in on NIL when they really need to. But here's the other side of it. Should USC's collective have to pay that kind of scratch, you know, for a player when they already have a competitive offer, as well as some other perks that will sweeten the deal? I mentioned Coach Henderson. Didn't even get into, you know, living arrangements, you know, driving arrangements. There are so many things that USC can do to sweeten the deal that they don't have to start with 7 figures. Look, they don't get to deal with a player. I should say USC House of Victory doesn't really get to deal with the player until Lincoln Riley says, all right, let's just go ahead and do this. So until that's been finalized between player and coaching staff, this is kind of where we're at right now. It's all the feeling out process. USC is not out of it. I will tell you that. They just don't want to go all in with that kind of price when they have more needs. Again, they need to spend their money more judiciously. They can't just throw a big wad of cash at one player. You can't just depend on people to keep donating to House of Victory. That's not how this works. And I think the players and the people within that inner circle of players going to the transfer portal, they need to understand. Look at a bigger picture. Let's not just ask for money because you think you own the market. Not a good look on for anybody. Anyways, had to get that off my chest. Not really a Friday rant. I have a Friday rant coming up in the third segment. But we've been talking about the transfer portal all week. We're going to end the week on the transfer portal. We're going to talk about it more next week. But this was a hot button topic that everybody's been wanting to talk about. And look, I had to kind of broach the subject because everybody was anticipating USC having somebody in the bag. This is one guy that they thought they had, and then all of a sudden, someone, hey, oh, by the way, here's the asking price. USC is like, wait a minute here. Are you serious? I've told you I have a competitive side, and I think the more you get to know me, you watch the show, the more you're going to agree. So because of that competitive side, I've become a really big fan of Monopoly Go. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. It's a great twist on Monopoly, where you play not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, and you get to build up amazing cities that bring you big time money. But the best part, my favorite part, is I get to mess with my friends. I can charge them rent on my iconic properties, just like the classic Monopoly game that you know. But now I can also rob their vaults of riches for myself. And they have leaderboards, so they're going to show me who the biggest Monopoly tycoon really is. But it's not just my competitive side that loves it. You can team up with friends and people all around the world in timed tournaments, and you can earn huge rewards. So get in the game, and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or Google Play. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guarantee Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, we're going to do a little spring camp review here. Last day of spring camp. Yep, I was at spring practice. You're watching this if you're making your first listen on Friday. It was on Thursday, 2 days before USC spring game. So let's show you. Here we go. I'm going to talk, and you're going to watch what took place. Here we go. Now we got it rolling. Let's start from the beginning, maybe. Okay, here we go. Now we're working. I apologize for that momentary delay there. So, for those of you who aren't watching on YouTube, first thing I did is I took a tour of Heritage Hall, and I noticed all of the 7 Heisman placards had Heisman on tour in place. There should be 8 of them. USC's got the spring game coming up on Saturday. That's where they're going to be on location. There's a lot of recruits as well. By the way, I've got the video playing here in the background. You saw USC incoming offensive lineman Hayden Trader with Killian O'Connor and offensive line coach Josh Henson. Hayden Trader, huge. Anyways, all right, let's get back into this. As I mentioned, spring practice, the practices themselves are done. Saturday, spring game. So that's the last day of spring camp. And that's when the Trojan family, everyone's going to get in the Coliseum. You better get out there. And we're going to everyone's going to learn together what the team looks like. They've been, They kind of been behind the walls for a month. I give you a little peek here and there, little glimpses, but now we're going to see them play. And, for the last practice, it was perfect. 73 degrees. As you can see, the team came out in shorts and shells. Things are going to heat up on Saturday, obviously. They're going to play a half a game of football, according to Lincoln Riley. So, keeping the bodies fresh, 2 days before a game. Let's not get too physical. It was more of a walkthrough type of practice on Thursday. Now, before practice started, I always get to campus early. I noticed I actually walked past defensive coordinator Antonlynn. We know he's a young guy. He's not even 40 yet. His beard, very unkempt, very gray. I was like, whoa, kind of caught my attention. These are the part of my notes and observations. Those are the little things I look at. You also might notice these players that are coming out. A lot of them are wearing different jerseys. I'll get to that note here momentarily. There is a lot of pressure on the defense. I was talking about Antonlynn. Maybe that's why his beard is already gray. They finished last year, the defense finished ranked 116th in the nation. That ain't good. That's terrible. Eric Gentry, he was wearing Rajon Davis's jersey, number 9. And I think Rajon was wearing number 19 at practice, so maybe they just swapped. Anyways, this is what Eric Gentry said about number 116. We do something called 116 after every workout. 116 reps of everything. I guess that's where we were ranked last year. I won't ever forget that number just because we're doing 116 after, and I couldn't quite make out what he was going to say, but he said, we're holding everybody accountable. Eric Gentry has been a great, great quote machine this spring. You might remember he's a lot happier. He feels more comfortable out there with a coaching staff that knows how to use him. He's got a really unique skill set, and they're finding ways to use those skills. He just feels a lot more comfortable. He talked about that after practice as well. Again, with the transfer portal, it's on everybody's mind. The reason why I brought up everybody's jersey numbers, I'm out there trying to scribble down, all right, who's here, who's not. Who is that? I don't recognize that person. I mean, Anthony Beavers, he's wearing jersey number 34. Achille Arnold slipped into jersey number 21. I almost felt like I was at UCLA where they jumped the fence, and skip practice. That will never happen at USC. USC takes football seriously. Now, just because the transfer portal, we've been talking about it all week. It's been front and center and it's going to be front and center for the next couple of weeks as well. It doesn't mean that the staff isn't focused on recruiting and summer enrollees. You might have saw Hayden Trader walking out with Josh Henson and Killian O'Connor. I think I said it already. He's on the same workout routine. Dude is huge, massive. One of the recruits that was there, this is kind of cool, class of 2025, 5-star offensive lineman, and Andrew Babalola. He was watching practice, again, hanging out with Coach Henson. He is On3's highest rated offensive lineman. So that's a good thing that he's hanging out at USC this weekend. Now, I have my doubts. I mentioned Hayden Trader. I don't know if he'll be able to participate or if he'll contribute this year, but he definitely passes that eyeball test. He really, really does. Looks big kid, and looks like he's going to play tackle in the future. He's got that look to him. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to leave this note alone. Anyways, someone else spotted Bear Alexander, not in uniform. Again, I don't think it really matters today because, the team was in shorts and shells. I don't know. I've come to the conclusion that it was part of his new renegotiated NIL deal. that he doesn't have to practice every day in spring camp. All I'm going to say is he better be ready when fall camp opens, because other people are noticing that limited participation stuff. You can get away with it during spring. You really better be injured if you're not going to practice during the fall. And I'm not just talking about there. I'm talking specifically in general. Referees are on hand to help the team get better, so they don't get called for penalties during the regular season. They asked them, hey, were they penalty free today? One of them just looked at us like, almost. So stuff to work on still, I guess. Saw Caleb Bullock. He actually looks like he's added some weight to his upper body. Yeah. He looks real professional too, especially when he's got his eyeglasses on. Not sunglasses. I guess he uses them as readers. Caleb Bullock is starting to look very grown up, very professional. Good job. Like what I saw there. The linemen, they're always, I think every one of them are required to wear the knee braces. Cooper Lovelace came out. He had some really nice, shiny, bright cardinal ones. Noticeable. Jonah Monheim, he does not have shiny new ones. His look like they've been in a lot of battles. And then Gino Quinones, he had one. He's wearing it on his surgically repaired knee. He's getting close. Saw him out there running around. Since Jalen Smith was brought up last week by Lincoln Riley, he's out there running around. He'll be ready for fall camp. Now, as you were watching the video while I was talking, you saw some practice stuff going on. Real quickly, Anthony Jones, running backs coach, he works with the return specialist. He was having some fun today since they were kind of taking carefree, a little bit loose. As the guys are trying to receive the ball, locating the ball in the air, either via punt or kickoff, Coach Jones is taking the tennis ball and he's hucking them at them, trying to distract them. He threw one a little bit too hard. He missed one of the players, but my dexterity was on point. Full display. Did not move the camera. Did not even look. Well, I looked down momentarily, but just enough to stop the ball with my foot. And it actually helped out Coach because he didn't have to run an extra 20 yards to go retrieve the ball. Program note. Once spring camp is over and, some of the content slows down as far as team news, I'm going to be doing a walk-on series. Yeah, I told you, we root for the walk-ons on this. They don't get enough respect. We're going to make sure we do that. And I've already gotten authorization from Katie Ryan, Sports Information Director. I'm going to be interviewing these guys. So something to look forward to. But did you know, and this is something we'll talk about when we bring them on the show, walk-on quarterback, backup quarterback, Gage Roy. Did you know that he had 10 Division I scholarship offers coming out of high school? True story. None of those offers meant anything, though, because he got that preferred walk-on offer to his dream school, USC. What else did I see during practice? I talked about the 116. Let's see, going through my notes here. Oh, Doug Belk. We talked to him after practice. So I was focused on how he was working with the secondary. Very technical, very hands-on approach. And he actually was talking to Prophet Brown as well. He's really defined a role for himself at the nickel spot. But he's also, he can also move outside the corner if they need him. But he's really been focused at nickel throughout the spring. But one of the drills I really liked when I was watching it was, well, it was this drill where they would be backpedaling and then they would turn. And literally, when they're like 3 feet from completing the drill, somebody's firing a ball at them too. They have to complete the interception. There was another drill that I saw, and I wasn't supposed to see it, but I'll talk about it anyways. You talk about the Anthony Jones throwing the tennis ball at the return specialist. When the media gets kicked out of practice, anyways, I went back to my car to go get a bottle of water, and my parking spot happened to be very advantageous. and it gave me a very limited view of the practice field. I could see what was going on, and I could see the quarterbacks. They were working. They were dropping back. They were doing some rollouts. But every now, all of a sudden, I would see this giant dodgeball just come flying out of nowhere at the quarterback, or this giant red pad coming flying out of nowhere at the quarterback. And I was like, okay, that's one way to distract them. It's kind of funny, but whatever. So again, it seemed like it was a very carefree practice type of day. They're going to be playing their game on Saturday. We'll see what happens. Doug Belk talked about what he's seen from his guys. He wants them to be physical. He wants to be aggressive. Prophet Brown, he mentioned how they're doing a lot of disguising of their coverage. That was another drill. It was kind of a 2-on-1 where the corner and the safety are working in concert, and depending on where you are in position, one hands the receiver off to the other, while the other attacks the ball carrier coming out of the backfield. So again, a lot of technical stuff, hands-on, very slow installation, repetitions. What it's all about. 116 times, according to Eric Gentry. We're going to see it all come together in the spring game on Saturday. I'll see you there at the Coliseum. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. See the view from your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All-in prices show you your total upfront, and that way you know you're getting a great deal before you even check out. Buy your tickets in seconds. 2 taps, that's all it takes. And Trojan fans, have you gotten your tickets yet for the game in Vegas? Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. Don't wait, though. It's the place to find last-minute seats. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Here we are, Friday, segment 3. What does it mean? Friday's rant. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to get to the Friday rant, but first, I want to ask you a question. We've been talking about the transfer portal all week. Let's have some fun with it. Okay, I'm going to ask you a personal question, and then I'm going to go on my rant. If NIL existed for the fans, what would be your portal price? For example, let's say UCLA approached you and offered you I'm just giving a number. You can come up with your own. I expect you to tell me what it is. Let's say UCLA said, I'm going to give you $75,000 a year. You're going to be a UCLA fan. You're going to take it? And no, you do not get to negotiate into the deal the option of taking the money and then transferring back. That's not how it works. Okay? This is kind of NIL for life. So name your price. Hit me up in the comments section. Let me know. I don't know. I don't think I could even for $75,000 a year. I'm not sure I could put my love for USC aside. I like I said, I'm a pretty competitive person. And $75K a year, that's good money, especially in today's market. But I don't know. All right. This is going to be a quick rant. What I'm going to say is, do not ask for advice if you're not ready to hear something you might not agree with. Okay? I used to be a high school basketball coach back in the day. I was called Bobby Knight Jr. I think I've told you the story before. But anyways, I told you how it is. I didn't sugarcoat things. You knew exactly how I felt. But it was never personal. It was never mean. I was trying to develop you as a person on and off the court. So, sometimes I'm going to tell somebody something they might not want to hear. I would make it very clear. This is not personal, but if you're asking for advice and you want to take yourself to the next step, to the next level, these are some things you need to take into consideration. Well, someone approached me for some advice. I gave them some advice. The person was a little put off, and that's okay. But again, I think when you're looking to do something different, and I appreciate that. I appreciate anybody trying to do something different. And I think it's wise to ask people who are successful their advice. How did you get there? How do you do it? What should I do? Well, when somebody asks you a question, they're trying to, they're looking for the best way to respond to you. That's why in communication, listening is not the most important thing. It's speaking. And if you're not clear what your intent is, then somebody can't respond to you clearly. So maybe that was part of the problem. Again, if you're going to ask for advice, and you don't have to take the advice, you don't have to even like it, but you should listen to it. And if you're not sure or if you're not clear, ask again. Clarify that for me. And if you still don't like the advice, say thanks and move on. But don't get upset. Anyways, that's it for this episode of Locked on USC. I'm going to be back again next week with another 5 episodes. The spring game is Saturday. I'm going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the transfer portal, as well as any recruiting news that's going on. That's why you come to Locked on USC 5 times a week, part of the Locked on Network, your team every day. And when you're done here, go check it out over there on wearesc.com. We got a lot of information. Remember, I give you everything you can get, all your news and notes in 30 minutes or less. Over there, you're going to get a lot more than that. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.